In the quiet town of Henderson's residence, a seemingly ordinary day took a decisive turn when he stumbled upon a soldier recruitment notice. Intrigued by the prospect of a different life, he delved into the possibilities laid out before him. Little did he know that this seemingly straightforward choice would plunge him into a world where his perceptions of capability and qualification would be shattered. Upon joining Roman Dimitry's ranks as a private soldier, Henderson initially believed that the role required no outstanding qualifications. In his mind, the transition from a farmer to a warrior seemed like a natural progression, a mere change in occupation. However, reality struck hard when veteran mercenaries like Lucas and Pucky gathered to assess the conditions Roman offered. Henderson found himself surrounded by battle-hardened individuals, turning his initial confidence into a massive delusion. As the days unfolded, Henderson discovered that he was akin to a herbivore surrounded by beasts. Doubts began to gnaw at him, questioning whether he could truly measure up to the expectations set by serving under Roman. The very qualities he thought unnecessary for a private soldier were now glaringly absent, leaving him feeling unprepared and vulnerable. In a moment of vulnerability, Henderson sought counsel from Chris, a seasoned warrior within Roman's ranks. Henderson confessed that he felt undeserving of serving Lord Roman, citing his lack of swordsmanship skills and his background as a mere farmer. He deemed his decision to step into the world of warriors as arrogant and questioned whether he had the right to be amongst such skilled individuals. Chris, however, responded with a narrative that transcended Henderson's current state. He spoke of Kevin, a once spiteful boy whom Roman had taken under his wing. Chris vividly recalled the skepticism he felt when Roman chose Kevin, a common boy with nothing but spite in his eyes. However, the passage of time had transformed Kevin into a formidable warrior, earning the respect of all who crossed his path. Reflecting on his own journey, Chris revealed that he, too, had undergone a profound transformation. He recounted a time when his ignorant self had challenged Roman, only to have his front teeth almost blown away in response. Back then, Chris admitted to being nothing more than a frog in a well, unaware of the vastness of the world beyond. Under Roman's guidance, he had evolved into a warrior, just as Kevin had. With a sense of camaraderie, Chris urged Henderson to pay heed. He reminded him that the liege, Roman himself, had personally accepted Henderson into his ranks. Chris acknowledged Henderson's current struggles but emphasized the latent potential within him. Drawing parallels to Kevin and himself, he assured Henderson that growth was not only possible but inevitable under Roman's mentorship. In the quiet realm of Henderson's self-doubt, the prospect of transformation beckoned as he stepped into the fold of Roman Dimitri's service. It was a decision laden with skepticism, for Henderson struggled to believe in his own potential. Yet, amidst his uncertainty, he reasoned that Roman must have discerned something worthwhile in him, a reason to select Henderson above a multitude of other applicants. Despite being a humble farmer, Henderson began to weave a delicate thread of trust in Roman's judgment, spurred on by the assurance of a fellow soldier, Chris. From the moment Henderson embraced this newfound trust, a subtle but profound change unfolded in his life. However, he clung to Chris's counsel, choosing to place his faith in Roman Dimitry, the liege who seemed capable of turning such improbable aspirations into reality. In the ensuing months, Henderson adhered steadfastly to a demanding training regimen. The physical toll was relentless, pushing him to the brink where vomiting or losing consciousness became a regular part of the ordeal. Yet, undeterred, Henderson summoned the resilience to persevere. It was through this unwavering commitment that he forged the path to his present self, a testament to the transformative power of dedication and the guidance of a mentor. In the present, Henderson found himself questioning the very essence of war. He posed a poignant inquiry to his fellow soldiers, urging them to contemplate the reality of conflict where survival hinged on taking the lives of others. In this existential boundary between life and death, Henderson rejected the notion of soldiers using inadequate preparation as an excuse. He cast aside requests that dragged others down to the level of complaint, emphasizing the importance of acknowledging weaknesses and actively striving for improvement. As Henderson departed from the scene, the resonance of his words lingered, leaving his fellow soldiers momentarily speechless. The glimpse into Roman soldiers revealed a group already entrenched in the mindset of war. It spoke of an unwavering commitment, a shared understanding that transcended mere physical training. The soldiers, fueled by the unspoken camaraderie of shared purpose, were readying themselves for an impending conflict, even in the absence of its immediate manifestation. Outside this realm of warriors, other nobles observed with skepticism. They sought understanding as to why Roman and his soldiers, hailing from common birth, were expending such tremendous effort. In the shade, away from the intensity of the training grounds, these onlookers struggled to comprehend the purpose of such extreme measures. The southern front, far removed from the active theaters of war, seemed an unlikely place for such rigorous preparations. Among these observers was Henry, contemplating his own distance from someone like Roman. The nobles questioned the motives of Roman soldiers, deeming their efforts unnecessary. Yet, within this seemingly pointless exertion, there lay a profound truth, that those born under the banner of Dimitry were striving to be acknowledged, to prove their worth even when far from the immediate battleground. Henry found himself perplexed by what he perceived as Roman's obliviousness to the benefits of dialogue and forging alliances with other nobles. He mused that this might be a common issue among nobles of common birth, a failure to recognize the importance of interpersonal connections in the complex dance of politics. The notion lingered in his thoughts as he pondered the potential repercussions of such isolationist tendencies. As the narrative shifted, we found ourselves in the grand halls of the Hector Palace, a domain where crucial decisions shaped the destiny of a kingdom. Here, Jackson, a stalwart soldier and captain of the Ranger Corps, stood before the King of Hector. In a detailed report, Jackson unveiled the meticulous efforts of the Ranger Corps, having infiltrated and investigated Cairo's southern front defense line an astonishing 48 times over the past year. Jackson's findings painted a strategic picture. The defensive strength of the southern front had been skewed towards the western front due to the ongoing confrontation with Chronist. This tactical imbalance left the southern front exposed and vulnerable. The conclusion drawn was that conquering the southern front would be a relatively straightforward endeavor. In the complex geopolitics of the continent, this revelation held significant implications for the Hector kingdom. The narrative then delved into the historical grandeur and subsequent fall from grace experienced by Hector. Once a superpower comparable to the formidable Kronos Empire, Hector faced a devastating defeat in a war against Valhalla. This defeat marked the turning point, reducing Hector's national strength to a level on par with Cairo. The once proud kingdom, a beacon of power and influence, now found itself relegated to one of the 6 kingdoms, struggling to maintain relevance in the face of imperial dominance. Against this backdrop of decline, Prince Edwin Hector approached his father, the king, with a heavy heart. Edwin disclosed the harsh reality of Hector's plight: 5 years of consecutive poor harvests, exacerbated by the burden of repaying loans from the Golden Bank with crippling interest. The kingdom stood at the precipice of financial suffocation, and Edwin expressed deep concern that if the current trajectory continued, Hector would lose its identity as a kingdom. In a moment of poignant honesty, Edwin traced the root of Hector's troubles to a deliberate distancing from war and its historical entanglements following the ancestral defeat. However, he asserted that this self-imposed isolation must come to an end. Edwin revealed that over the past year, Hector had made extensive preparations for an inevitable confrontation. Addressing his father with a sense of urgency, Edwin presented a stark choice: war. He acknowledged the desperate state of the citizens and the kingdom itself, asserting that the time for decision had arrived. War, in Edwin's perspective, was the only recourse that could potentially salvage Hector from its downward spiral. In the chambers of Hector's royal palace, Edwin's father grappled with the weight of the word war. To him, it was a term too significant to easily pass from a king's lips, especially given his son Edwin's distinct and resolute nature. Seeking affirmation, the king questioned Edwin about his confidence in pursuing war. Edwin, unyielding in his conviction, reassured his father that he wouldn't have proposed it if he lacked confidence. With a pivotal decision at hand, the king relinquished all executive authority related to the impending war to his sole heir, Edwin Hector. Taking up this newfound responsibility, Edwin conveyed his readiness to carry out the king's command. The transfer of executive authority marked a transformative moment, setting the stage for Edwin to lead Hector into the uncharted territories of conflict. In a seamless transition, the narrative shifted to the southern camp, where the culmination of a 3-week training regimen brought a sense of accomplishment. Bael, the bearer of good news, joyfully informed Roman and the other soldiers who had completed the training that they were now part of the prestigious 5th Defense Line's Reserve Corps. He acknowledged that this position was highly sought after and revealed that he had utilized some influence to secure Roman's deployment to this coveted post. Grateful for the opportunity, Roman extended his thanks, but Bael, in a display of camaraderie, waved off any expressions of gratitude, assuring Roman that he could always turn to Bael if any needs arose. Beyond the confines of the training grounds, a moment of gratitude unfolded as McBurney expressed his appreciation to Roman. The past 3 weeks had offered McBurney a renewed sense of purpose, and he recognized the impact of Roman's guidance. Handing Roman a piece of paper, McBurney explained that it contained summarized information and geographical features of the Southern Front. He hoped it would be a valuable resource in the event of war and conveyed his sincere prayers for Roman's safety. Roman, appreciating the gesture, thanked McBurney for the thoughtful preparation. In the depths of McBurney's emotions, a complex realization surfaced. Observing Roman over the training period, McBurney felt a strong inclination to follow him. However, this newfound admiration was tinged with a sense of self-awareness. McBurney, a one-armed individual lacking proficiency in swordplay, grappled with the notion that there might not be a place for him among the elite warriors under Roman's command. As McBurney bid farewell to Roman, a sense of self-doubt clouded his departure. He believed that his presence might hinder Roman's efforts, yet the parting was marked by a gesture that spoke volumes. Roman, examining the map McBurney had meticulously prepared, couldn't help but acknowledge the difficulty even seasoned individuals like Lucas faced in acquiring such detailed information. In McBurney's selfless act, Roman found a source of respect, recognizing the purity of his goodwill. The narrative then shifted to the heart of the unfolding conflict, the Southern Front's first defense line. A soldier's urgent shout pierced the air as the enemy's attack began in earnest. The chaos and uncertainty of warfare unfurled, setting the stage for a tumultuous series of events. Simultaneously, the scene transitioned to the Reserve Corps base camp of the 5th Defense Line. Here, Henry grappled with the significance of his Uncle Bale's words. Bale, intentionally placing Henry in the same Reserve Corps as Roman, had impressed upon him the importance of cultivating a friendly relationship with Roman over the next 2 years. Henry, contemplative and uncertain about how to bridge the gap with someone like Roman, found himself thrust into a situation that demanded both strategic acumen and personal connection. The sudden blare of an emergency siren shattered the camp's tranquility, signaling Hector's declaration of war. Soldiers hurriedly prepared for the impending engagement, each moment marked by a palpable tension. However, amidst the urgency, Henry was struck by the realization that Roman Dimitry, his intended companion on this tumultuous journey, had vanished from his immediate surroundings. As the war unfolded, the 1st Defense Line bore the brunt of Hector's initial onslaught. Hector's soldiers breached the gate, threatening the stability of this once prized bastion. Baron Bruce, the 5th Defense Line's commander, grappled with the severity of the situation. Baron Bruce, reflecting on the 5th Defense Line's transformation, lamented the loss of its true essence as a battlefield. Once hailed as the Southern Front's paradise, it had devolved into a haven of luxury for nobles who prioritized personal gain over their duty as soldiers. The corruption and neglect overseen by Baron Bruce himself had eroded the line's capacity to withstand a genuine threat. Realizing that defending the 5th Defense Line to the end was tantamount to suicide, Baron Bruce urgently commanded his soldiers to hold their positions. He emphasized the potential danger to innocent civilians should Hector's soldiers breach their defenses, underscoring the weight of the responsibility that rested on their shoulders. Baron Bruce's fervent pleas for his soldiers not to retreat echoed futilely. The chaos of battle engulfed the 5th Defense Line, and in a stark twist, Bruce himself found his resolve wavering. Instructing his soldiers to buy him time, he revealed his intention to personally contact the royal family, seeking reinforcements. Roman, sensing the urgency of the situation, swiftly took charge, issuing orders for all soldiers to immediately head towards the beleaguered 5th Defense Line. As the contingent moved with purpose, Roman contemplated the dire state of the Southern Front's overall defensive capabilities. It was a confluence of factors, degraded gear, demoralized mindsets, and an ineffective commander that rendered their military strength woefully weak. The Reserve Corps, crucial for emergencies, had been strategically positioned 2 hours away from the front line, adding a layer of urgency to Roman's directive. The goal was clear: reach the 5th Defense Line within an hour. Amidst the urgent march, Roman's eyes fell upon the figure of Baron Bruce, the commander of the 5th Defense Line. Bruce, seemingly detached from his soldiers, issued an order that conflicted with Roman's immediate mission. The commander instructed Roman to prioritize escorting him to the rear, asserting the perceived superiority of his own safety over the reinforcement of the 5th Defense Line. Roman, however, was not one to blindly follow orders without questioning. He confronted Bruce, questioning why the commander stood alone, separated from his soldiers in the midst of a critical battle. Bruce, maintaining a tone of authority, scolded Roman for daring to speak out of turn. Frustration seeping through him, Roman asserted that he had heard enough. Seizing Bruce by the neck, Roman condemned the commander for abandoning his soldiers, highlighting the severe consequences of such actions. Roman emphasized that, by law, desertion could lead to on-the-spot execution, regardless of one's status. In a drastic turn of events, driven by the gravity of the betrayal, Roman, regretfully but resolutely, ended Bruce's life on the spot. It was a stark reminder of the harsh realities of wartime decisions, where the code of honor faced the brutal necessities of survival. Despite the somber moment, Roman pressed on, resolute in his mission to reinforce the 5th defense line. The narrative pivoted to the besieged line, where a lone soldier fought valiantly against the relentless onslaught of Hector's forces. The soldier, anticipating a day when the tides of war would turn against them, now grappled with the unfathomable, a commander abandoning their post in the face of danger. In the pivotal moment when the 5th defense line hung in the balance, Roman's timely intervention disrupted the advance of Hector's soldiers. The air cleared momentarily, allowing Roman to engage in a conversation with a soldier named Stephen. Confirming his identity, Stephen received the solemn news of Baron Bruce's demise. With Bruce no longer in command, the weight of responsibility now rested squarely on Stephen's shoulders. Roman, recalling insights from Lucas, recognized Stephen as a crucial figure for the defense line. Lucas had singled out Stephen as the linchpin for this particular scenario. Demonstrating his trust in Stephen's dedication to the defense line, Roman sought Stephen's judgment. He urged Stephen to share his thoughts on how they could fortify and protect the area. Alongside this, Roman made it clear that, if all seemed lost, he, as the Reserve Corps commander, would not hesitate to order a strategic retreat. This encounter solidified for Stephen that he was in the presence of Roman Dimitry, a figure of importance. Roman expressed his reliance on Stephen's understanding of the battlefield dynamics. Stephen, assessing the strained ebb and flow of the ongoing battle, acknowledged the apparent safety in retreat. However, he also highlighted the potential strategic disadvantage of yielding a defense line to Hector, providing them with control over vital supply routes and thereby prolonging the war. Roman, faced with the grim reality, proposed an audacious plan, using railings to block the enemy's access through the gate. In this bold strategy, Roman pledged to buy the necessary time for the installation of the railings. Simultaneously, Stephen would mobilize his forces, preparing for this calculated yet risky maneuver. Stephen, taken aback by the daring nature of Roman's plan, expressed concern about the imminent danger, particularly as enemy forces were charging in. Roman, however, reassured Stephen that he wasn't recklessly endangering himself. In a display of swift and seemingly effortless agility, Roman deftly dodged an incoming attack, emphasizing that he wouldn't embark on a plan deemed impossible. As Roman incapacitated an approaching enemy with a strategic maneuver, Stephen, witnessing the display of skill, found himself both astonished and silenced. Amidst the chaotic backdrop of battle, Chris, a member of the cohort, sought orders from Roman. Roman confidently outlined the plan to Chris, intending to clear a path to the gate. With a firm command, he rallied all forces to follow him. The soldiers under Roman's command displayed unwavering readiness, leaving Stephen in awe. The palpable loyalty and commitment among Roman soldiers surprised him, challenging his preconceived notions of leadership dynamics. Witnessing this, Stephen couldn't fathom the depth of the master-servant relationship that seemed to be built on more than mere duty. Addressing Stephen, Roman tasked him with making the necessary preparations, underlining that the war had only just commenced. As Roman soldiers seamlessly fell into formation, Stephen grasped a crucial insight. Their loyalty wasn't merely an obligation, it emanated from a profound respect for Roman. The sight on the battlefield revealed a leader whose authority wasn't asserted through dominance, but earned through mutual understanding and genuine admiration. As Roman thundered towards the Hector soldiers, his mind wrestled with a profound question. Was there truly a need for someone like him, devoid of a fervent love for his homeland, to willingly plunge into such a perilous endeavor? War, in its essence, seemed to be a grim theater where the powerless were destined to be sacrificed. Despite his current stature as a highly esteemed figure in the Cairo kingdom, Roman contemplated the privileges he had garnered as one of the formidable. It was an internal struggle, amplified by the harsh realities faced by small nations lacking in power and wealth. Amidst the clashing of swords and the chaos of battle, Roman found himself yearning for the life he had once led on the battlefield. The camaraderie of his fellow soldiers, including Chris, Kevin, and others, provided a sense of purpose. Together, they skillfully dismantled their enemies, and Roman's mere presence became a harbinger of death. The toll of his kills rose steadily, first 10, then 20, and with each fallen opponent, the Hector soldiers underwent a transformation. At 10 kills, trust among Hector's soldiers remained unshaken, but as Roman reached the 20th, a realization dawned upon them. Their adversary was not just strong, he was an indomitable force they had never fathomed. Fear etched itself onto their faces, and whispers of Roman being a monstrous presence on the battlefield echoed among the retreating soldiers. Meanwhile, Baron McCleary, the commander of Hector's forces, stood bewildered by the sudden retreat of his soldiers. Victory had seemed assured when they breached the castle gate, and the unexpected withdrawal left McCleary grappling for an explanation. His confusion deepened as he caught sight of Roman amidst the tumult, their eyes meeting from a distance. The shock on McCleary's face mirrored the enigma of the unfolding events. Observing Roman charging ahead alone, McCleary, mired in disbelief, concluded that Roman sought his head. Arrogance, he thought, fueled such a lone assault. In response, he swiftly commanded his soldiers to converge upon Roman and take him down. The soldiers, under the assumption that Roman was isolated, rushed towards him with a collective determination to vanquish this seemingly solitary threat. However, Roman, keenly perceptive amidst the chaos, recognized the opportune moment when the enemy had let their guard down. It was a lesson learned from the numerous battlefields he had traversed. The key to swiftly concluding a war often lay in severing the head of the lead commander. As the enemies teetered on the brink of collapse, Roman discerned the pivotal moment that could turn the tide, the elimination of the commander. Charging headlong into the chaotic fray, he made a split-second decision to unleash the second move of his Heavenly Demon Sword technique. The result was a devastating single strike that brought down a significant portion of the Hector soldiers, leaving the remaining adversaries in stunned disbelief. Witnessing the swift and efficient display of combat prowess, the Hector soldiers faltered. Their commander, McCleary, stepped forward, attempting to assert authority by identifying himself to Roman. However, Roman, fueled by his unwavering determination, wasted no time. In a seamless motion, he executed another strike, swiftly felling McCleary before he could utter another word. The battlefield echoed with the clash of steel and the cries of the fallen as Roman stood triumphant. In the midst of the chaos, Roman raised his voice, commanding the attention of the Cairo soldiers. With authority and urgency, he declared that he had successfully taken down the enemy commander. However, his tone shifted to caution as he emphasized the potential threat posed by the remaining Hector soldiers. Roman reasoned that sparing them now would only breed future adversaries for Cairo. Despite the significant loss of blood on their part, Roman rallied his soldiers, urging them to put their lives on the line and eradicate every last remnant of the enemy. On the opposing side, Henry, a witness to Roman's resolute actions, found himself grappling with a profound question. How could he approach Roman in such a state? The unexpected transformation in Roman's demeanor left Henry pondering the complexities of their camaraderie in the crucible of war. With their commander gone, the Hector soldiers faced a disheartening reality. They scattered in different directions, attempting to escape the relentless pursuit of Roman and his forces. The 5th defense line stood firm under Roman's leadership, successfully repelling the onslaught. Chris, one of Roman's trusted comrades, reported to him that none of the 30 soldiers, including himself, had incurred casualties. Roman, acknowledging the valor and efficiency of his soldiers, commended them for their excellent work on the battlefield. Roman's leadership extended beyond the strategic and martial aspects of the conflict. In a gesture that surprised onlookers, including the astute McBurney, Roman generously supplied potions to all his soldiers. These magical concoctions, crafted in the magic tower for healing purposes, held considerable value. Even the lowest-grade potions were deemed precious, yet Roman distributed them without hesitation. McBurney, recognizing the layers of Roman's character, strength, decisiveness, and generosity, marveled at the intricate tapestry that wove trust among Roman, Dimitry, and the soldiers. As the dust settled on this part of the battlefield, Roman directed Stephen to oversee the aftermath and prepare for a second round of attack. In the urgency of the ongoing war, Roman felt the need for a guide familiar with the intricate terrain of the southern front. He relayed this requirement to Stephen, who, surprised, questioned whether Roman intended to head there immediately. Roman affirmed, emphasizing that the war was far from over and prompt action was necessary. To meet this need, Stephen introduced Roman to Kobe, a local citizen intimately acquainted with the southern front's topography. Roman, armed with a terrain map, sought information from Stephen regarding the fastest route to reach the rear camp. Kobe, with a deep understanding of the southern front's geography, proposed a route along the mountainside. Roman, relying on his knowledge, estimated that the suggested path would take approximately 2 hours and 30 minutes. However, ever the strategist, Roman expressed the need for a shortcut, aiming to expedite his arrival to within a mere 2 hours. Kobe, surprised by Roman's accurate estimation of the mountain route's duration, pondered how Roman possessed such specific knowledge. It dawned on Kobe that this was not a mere speculative comment. Roman had an intimate grasp of the southern front's terrain, raising questions about the extent of Roman's prior experiences or studies. In response to Kobe's astonishment, Roman clarified his position. While he had familiarized himself with basic information, Roman admitted that his understanding was not exhaustive. Hence, he sought the aid of a local like Kobe, whose intimate knowledge would complement Roman's preparations. It became evident that Roman's intentions extended beyond the conventional expectations of a noble seeking an easy military life. His meticulous approach, grounded in a nuanced understanding of the situation, left a lasting impression on Kobe. Kobe, realizing that Roman's motives were more altruistic and strategic than those of other nobles who sought comfort in the southern front, began to see a glimmer of hope for the region. The arrival of someone like Roman, with a genuine interest in making a positive impact, sparked a sense of optimism within Kobe. He believed that, with Roman's assistance, even the beleaguered southern front could find a path towards a better future. As Roman emerged from the room, the atmosphere shifted. Chris, one of Roman's trusted comrades, informed him that a contingent of 30 soldiers, including himself, stood ready for departure. The efficiency and preparedness of Roman's forces spoke volumes about the camaraderie and discipline instilled by their leader. Amidst the readiness of his soldiers, another unexpected figure entered the scene, Henry Albert. Roman, visibly intrigued by Henry's sudden appearance, questioned his presence and sought an explanation.